Yo, YouTube, this is Mr. WCW DFan for the live YouTube page, and also Old School Icon 94 or Old School 94 Icon, whichever the case may be. I forget. Anyway, allow me to reintroduce myself to the YouTube universe. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about today. NXT. So I just finished watching the show, and I got news for you. Wow. The entire brand of NXT is way better than the major brand of WWE. It's better than the entire company combined. It just has more flavor, more enthusiastic energy than I've ever seen in my life as far as a developmental territory. Of course, in WCW, we never saw the power plant being used on TV or anything. They would just be brought to the table in order to be developed, and then you would see them on the programming. Now, allow me to really point out some things. Bray Wyatt and Bray Wyatt's character is awesome. Really thick ended personality. Corey Graves, I'm excited to see what that guy's got to offer. I like that they're having a women's division in NXT. But let me remind everyone here to go get called up into the WWE major brand. You only get demoted as a diva. You are being called a diva, okay? That is such an unfair label, okay? Divas stand for one thing. They can't be taken seriously, okay? That's what a diva is to the WWE. A female who can't wrestle, or a diva who just has her name listed and shows what she has, but doesn't get a push, or we have a couple other ones, or they are just named divas because they look good and that's all they are, or the final one, they're just females in a company dominated by men who don't get an appreciation for what their talents are like they used to in the 90s, and they're called divas because they can't be taken seriously, and thus meaning that it's an insult to what their talent really is. If they were to be given a much better time frame, they could be used accordingly, and they should have their own brand. They should have their own pay-per-view. They should have their own title. Obviously they do. Divas title is a disgrace. Of course, I guess it stands for what they stand for. The only exception I give is Caitlyn, because I'm a big fan of Caitlyn, but, you know, again, that's just... See that? Taking a peek at my background there? You better recognize. That's greatness right there. Whether you like it or not. Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, I said it, and I went there. Now, let's get back to the business here at hand. I skimmed, I recorded Impact, and I skimmed that fairly, because I didn't see the whole show. I got home late, so I didn't get to see the whole show, but I saw what I saw. It was okay, you know. Again, you know, still, bottom line, TNA is way better than WWE will ever be at this point in their brand right now. They're like, what, 40 years behind, and they're still better? Of course they are. They have a better tag team division. They have a better knockouts division. They have a better a world title. Their world title picture is a whole lot better, even with Sting being the competitor, being a challenger at Bully Ray. Why? Because even though Sting has been in the spotlight for years, he knows how to carry a match. He knows how to do what he does, and his stipulation for Slammiversary, which we will do a preview on Sunday. I will do a preview for Slammiversary. If I get enough time to do it, I will do a Slammiversary preview. So tune into that. I don't know when it'll be. Sometime Sunday. So, you know, TNA has the better brand and product right now, even though they have a lesser fan base and they have lesser resources and money and all that kind of stuff and lesser ratings. Still, they're better, hands down. You know what I mean? It's the way it is. And Slammiversary year, the second time they're going to have an inductee. So this one, I have a feeling it's going to be Jerry Jarrett, the father of Jeff Jarrett, right? Or it's going to be Jeff Jarrett himself, because again, he's the founder of the company, so why would not be him? It can't be AJ Styles. It should be, but it can't be, because I don't think it's deservingly at this time and this time. It just doesn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense at this time. Maybe 10 years later, when the company's been well established. Well, it is already established, but when he's retired, long ahead. And don't even bring up Sting. I mean, again, the Sting thing for the Hall of Fame was well deserved and also properly timed, as well as tribute-wise, it was just a perfect time. So we'll do that later. Let's get back to... And there goes the bell. Okay, let's get back to NXT for a second. That brand as a whole, you have a world title that has some sort of meaning to it. You have a tag team division, which is really nice. And you have next week, I believe there's going to be the inaugural tournament for the first ever women's champion in NXT. And again, here we go again with this whole thing. NXT, they're labeled women, okay? But in WWE, they're labeled divas. Now, you think about that for a second. Divas, women, okay? Which one is more serious? Women. Diva is just a poor excuse for a name to be labeled as a female, because it just goes to show you they can't be taken seriously. And it doesn't. I mean, that's just the way it is. I like the brand NXT. They're in Full Sail University. I like that. It's very a lot of exposure when it comes to that kind of brand. They stick to their the ring combination looks really nice. Their color combination, the entrance, it's good. You know, commentary can use a little work, but I think it's still good. Even with I don't know who they had, right? I don't know who they have. I can't remember. But they should have some guests every week and something like that. Maybe a talent from the main roster. But the most important thing is that NXT is obviously their main developmental territory. And as far as I'm concerned, that works perfectly. But if that's your best product that you have in the company, if that's your best sales pitch, then that's not good enough, because you can't have your developmental territory better than your main product. I mean, let's face it here, folks, okay? I'm a big fan of Sheamus. I like Randy Orton. I like, all these cats in the WWE, I call them cats because it's a slang. When you have a developmental territory that is way better than the main product, that's telling you something. That's being serious. That's terrible. That's not good at all. However, it does show that you have future is bright. But if your NXT program, your developmental territory is better than your main product, then something's wrong. Even though that is good news for the future, but that would mean that every time they go up to the main brand, it's just wasteful. Unless they're, given an opportunity that really stands out with their product right now. And, again, Cassius Ohno, you know what? Chris Hero, as we all know, he hasn't even been called up yet. And that's kind of sad, isn't it? I think, NXT is a good brand, and it works well with the fan base, and I think that makes perfect sense. And thank you to Rick1982 for subscribing to my channel. There's your shout out, brother. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Kudos to you. Consider that your reward for being a subscriber. Please leave some comments, folks. I understand you all have time. I mean, come on. I know I'm not the best YouTube guy in the world here, but you gotta give me some love, people. Give me some love. All right. So what we did, we cover. Okay. The other thing here is I want to cover. Okay. You know what? The top 5 gimmicks of all time, and not just gimmick-wise, just the goofy ones. Repo Man, Doink the Clown. I think Narcissist, Lex Luger was a really interesting gimmick, but it wasn't like goofy, but just a name that I'm coming up with. Tugboat and Earthquake. Okay. Obviously, the narcissist shouldn't be in that discussion. It was a name that came up. He's in another discussion. Lex Luger, by the way. Let's see here. You guys got to give me some love here in order for me to really post some more. I got a lot of things to cover. I am what we call a real hardcore wrestling fan, and I know I don't have much of a room to really symbolize that, but I am a really hardcore fan. I go all out. I don't go to live events because I can't afford it, and that's fine, you know. But I really have a lot to say, and I have, tons of things to say. I haven't even covered it, and I still have a lot to say. I can go a month talking about so many different things in wrestling. And lately, I've been thinking about calling it quits as a wrestling fan because I can't stand, the way things have gone, and and I thought, when WCW got bought out, that was like, wow. When they sold, but it wasn't their. When they went out of business, that was it. I thought I was gonna just stop, but I just turned to TNA and they changed everything. So, I'm looking forward to Slammiversary. Not so much Payback, but that I have a preview coming this weekend, and if you leave some comments and let me know what you want me to talk about, the Divas, NXT, WWE, SmackDown, Raw, main event, TNA Wrestling, TNA 2002, the X Division, tag team tournaments, historical figures like WrestleMania 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, all that kind of stuff, everything. Let me know what you want to say. But again, if you don't talk, I don't know, okay? So, let me hear what you have to say. Oh, and by the way, if you don't know, now you know. This is Mr. WCW D-Fan for Life YouTube page. And with that,